And as we are speaking to all of you this Monday, another all-time high in the S&P 500, in the Dow. If you just never checked your 401k, year starts and you're like, hey, I'm only going to check it halfway through, you're up big on the year. If you bought in April, you're up nearly 30% from where those lows were when all the so-called experts were telling you that the world was falling apart.
So it is a huge victory lap moment for Trump because we said at the time, and this was a moment where the so-called consensus was very much going against Trump, right? The economists, the CNBC watchers, and the CNBC hosts, that whole crew was, well, we all know the trade deal that this is going to lead to trade wars and higher prices, and the stock market's going to tank, and it can lead to a recession. And to be fair, and this is why I said you can go back and listen, we said we do not know that actually, that Donald Trump has earned the right to have the trust of the American people on the economy and on negotiating trade. I think more than really anything else, maybe immigration too, but on the economy and trade, he knows more than the people criticizing him. He truly does. He understands these dynamics better than the people out there, the peanut gallery, the cheap seats, saying, oh, he's going to ruin everything. We have huge trade deals announced. Here's just a little overview of some of this. Okay, this was you had Trump yesterday in Scotland at Turnberry, apparently a lovely golf course. Here was Trump in Scotland talking about how look at where the American economy is, look at all this enthusiasm, and play. This is cut 7. Play it.
Every leader, when I went to NATO the other day, every leader said, you have the hottest country in the world. We have the hottest country in the world now. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We have the highest stock market we've ever had. We have the best numbers we've ever had. But we have hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into our country. And I think it's the hottest. And by the way, 1 year ago, our country was dead. We had a dead country because of an incompetent president and incompetent Democrats. All they know how to do is talk and think about conspiracy theories and nonsense. If they'd waste their time talking about America being great again, it would be so much nicer, so much easier.
Clay, a big part of this, too, is people looking at these negotiations, these trade, now these deals, right? The negotiations have come to a conclusion. It's a great deal for America. They can't get around this, that this has improved the economic landscape for the American people. And this is, in so many ways, the manifestation of an America First trade policy, as in advantaging this country, finally.
What Trump is a master of is leverage. It's the number one thing that he recognizes. If he gets an inch on you, he will turn it into a mile. And his thought, and this is one of the things that you can go back and watch Trump talking about this for generations, if you so desire, even on Oprah. What he understands is this market is the most valuable market to have access to in the world. And his perspective on that is there should be a cost that we extract from other countries to be able to access the richest market of consumers in the world. And everybody said this is unbelievable. There's no way this is going to work. We had a balanced budget last month that nobody's talking about. Now, I understand that it can be somewhat of a calendar quirk, and look, we've got to get better and better, but there's almost zero doubt that we are going to have hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. And what Trump has said so far has been true. The American consumer is not fronting those costs. It is being eaten largely by manufacturers and other countries that have cut back prices to try to remain competitive. Now, we still have a deal to do with China. But as we near August 1st, Liberation Day was in early April, if I recall correctly. And if you just didn't look at your stocks and now you suddenly decide, hey, it's getting close to August, maybe I'll go look at my 401k, maybe I'll go look at the index funds that I hold, you've got record money. And I think people are feeling that. You are not seeing skyrocketing inflation. Inflation remains low. And in general, wage growth, which is really I would argue the most important single stat is wage growth outgrowing cost of goods? If you had to synthesize what makes you feel like you're doing better, in general, it is when your income as a worker is growing faster than the cost of the goods that you purchase with your income. And we have a situation where Trump has reversed the downturn of Biden, and your incomes are growing faster than the things that you have to buy. Now, I think this is important. The prices are never going to come back down, and this is the toxicity of inflation. By and large, we never hit negative inflation. There are all sorts of negative connotations economically that would occur. So the pernicious, awful, dastardly part of inflation is it does not ever go back. You're wanting to buy a hamburger for $3 instead of 5. It's never going to get returned to the $3. All you can do is slow the rate of growth, which is why I always compare it to putting on weight. If you're continuing to put on weight, sooner or later, the fact that you're putting on weight at a lower rate does not mean you're not going to be fat. And so all of those are major issues that unfortunately are going to stay with us from the Biden regime. But Trump, look, he ran on economy, border crime, and 6 months in, Buck, I can't remember a president who has more delivered on the things he said he would deliver on than Trump in the first 6 months has. Everything that he ran on, economy, border crime, is infinitely better than it was under Biden.
And we're not even doing the comparison you could do, which is imagine if Kamala Harris was president right now.
Well, yeah.
No, none of this. And, that would be the thing that most people would go to if Trump had underperformed a little bit the first 6 months, ran into some stumbles or whatever. You could always do well, at least it's not Kamala. In this case, it's like comparing the top student in the class to the worst student in the class, right? I mean, the difference is night and day between the administration that you are getting right now and what could have been, and what 48%, 49%, or no, it was more than that, 49% of the American people voted for in this last election, which is insane, which is to have Kamala Harris in charge of this economy. None of these trade deals would have gotten done. Trump, this is just one of these moments where, remember, we said we learned a lesson from the first term, which was everyone, quote unquote, everyone said Trump is wrong on China. He's wrong to take the approach he did to China. And not only was it correct in the implementation, it was so correct that Biden didn't change it because they knew that it would cause problems. It would be bad, right? So he was right on China when everyone said he was going to be wrong. Clay, I think what we're seeing again is Trump will be right on trade negotiations when, quote unquote, everyone said that he would be wrong. Here he is on the trade deal with the EU. We didn't even talk about this in specifics yet. This is cut 8. Play it.
This started months ago, this negotiation. So we knew pretty much what we were getting into, and we were able to make a deal that's very satisfactory to both sides. So it's a very powerful deal. It's a very big deal. It's the biggest of all the deals. It will be the biggest of all the deals. So we're very honored to have done so. And
it's a huge deal with the EU. As I said, the largest actual economic zone on the planet because it's all those countries put together. And now, Clay, American producers will be operating on a more level playing field with trade partners like the EU. There's hundreds of billions of dollars of investment that's agreed to from the EU here. There's a lot of U.S. energy that's going to be bought, additional energy that's going to be bought by the EU now. I mean, it's so good that they can't even the Trump haters can't even come up with a way to tell you it's bad. I think that tells you everything.
Yeah, look, I think they're running scared. I mean, I talked about this a little bit over the weekend. I think Trump has been proven right on the Epstein stuff, which I know people are still somewhat fired up about, but Democrats, and I think there's audio of Trump talking about this, but Democrats had these Epstein files for 4 years. They're losing on the economy. They're losing on border. They're losing on crime. So now they're trying to say, oh, Trump's to blame for Epstein. And my thing on that would be, well, you had the files for 4 years under Joe Biden. Why did you not release everything? Why did you not bring all the charges? We'll see what's going to end up happening there. But I do think it's worth you all thinking about this. They've pivoted from economy, border, crime attacks to, hey, all we can really hit Trump on is Epstein. And that is, I think, a sign, honestly, of how well he's doing on all the major big issues, the EBC, economy, border, crime, that he ran on in the first 6 months, that they're not even really coming after him. I think they've recognized, Buck, that going after Trump on, hey, he's deporting too many people is actually harming them. The Wall Street Journal had an incredible that graphic over the weekend. Maybe we can talk about this a little bit. Democrats have hit a 35-year low in popularity. That's pretty extraordinary, and the lowest level of popularity that has ever existed, because they are picking a lot of things to attack Trump on that the vast majority of the American public agrees with him on.
It is a good day, everybody. Trump is taking a much-deserved victory lap, and just look at what's going on with the economy all around you. I know that sometimes good is less interesting or grabs the attention less than catastrophe, especially in the news business. But there will be challenges ahead. Trust me. Take it in that things are going well right now. One of the challenges Trump talked about was really no progress with Russia at all. So we can talk more about that. Trump is ticked off at Putin. I could tell you from watching that interview this morning and previous statements he's made. So that's something that's going to get more attention now. And I think Trump has the wind at his back. I think Putin is underestimating the kind of pain that Trump is willing to inflict economically on Russia to bring this thing to a conclusion. So we can talk about that as well. But on trade, Trump is not tired of winning. President Trump was right on the money, that's for sure. And it's just evidence of how hard he's working to make the economy roar. Now, that's fantastic. But you have to take individual action for yourself, for your future. It's not about where things are going to be tomorrow. It's where things are going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Look at the price of gold over the last year. Look at the price of gold over the last decade. You will be astonished when you see how much it has gone up over the last 10 years. Gold, my friends, increases in value over time. We got all these governments all over the world that are buying up gold too because they're printing money. So even with Trump riding the ship, there's a really strong case to add some gold reserves into your portfolio. It's what I have. I recommend you do the same. And for any of you who have an old IRA or 401k, Birch Gold Group can help you get a tax sheltered 401k or IRA in physical gold. All right. They can help you transfer your old IRA or 401k into a physical gold IRA or 401k. Makes so much sense. And it's a great set it and forget it plan until you need it. Text my name Buck to 989898. Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. A+ rating with a Better Business Bureau. Tens of thousands of happy customers. Take control of your savings today. Don't wait until the next Democrat administration starts to ruin everything and gold goes through the roof. Get gold now when people are thinking about some other stuffs necessarily, right? You want to get gold when people aren't all necessarily focused in on gold. Got to move before the herd. Text Buck to 989898. Birch Gold will send you that free info kit on gold.